Hellas Verona Football Club are a professional Italian association football team, based in Verona, Veneto. The team won the Italian Serie A championship in 1984 Euro 85, and are playing in Serie A in 2013 Euro 14. History, origins and early history. Founded in 1903 by a group of high school students, the club was named Hellas, at the request of a professor of classics. At a time in which football was played seriously only in the larger cities of the northwest of Italy, most of Verona was indifferent to the growing sport. However, when in 1906 two city teams chose the city's Roman amphitheatre as a venue to showcase the game, crowd enthusiasm and media interest began to rise. During these first few years Hellas was one of 3 or 4 area teams playing mainly at a municipal level while fighting against city rivals Bentgodi to become the city's premier football outfit. By the 1907 Euro 1908 season, Hellas was playing against regional teams and an intense rivalry with Vicenza Calcio that lasts to this day was born. From 1898 to 1926 Italian football was organized into regional groups. In this period Hellas was one of the founding teams of the early league and often among its top final contenders. In 1911, the city helped Hellas replace the early, gritty football fields with a proper venue. This allowed the team to take part in its first regional tournament, which until 1926, was the qualifying stage for the national title. In 1919, following a return to activity after a 4-year suspension of all football competition in Italy during World War I, the team merged with city rival Verona and changed its name to Hellas Verona. Between 1926 and 1929 the elite Campionato Nazionale assimilated the top sides from the various regional groups and Hellas Verona joined the privileged teams, yet struggled to remain competitive. Serie A, as it is structured today, began in 1929, when the Campionato Nazionale turned into a professional league. Still an amateur team, Hellas merged with 2 city rivals, Bentgodi and Scaligera, to form AC Verona. Hoping to build a first-class contender for future years the new team debuted in Serie B in 1929. It would take the Gialloblu 28 years to finally achieve their goal. After first being promoted to Serie A for 1 season in 1957 Euro 58, in 1959 the team merged with another city rival and commemorated its beginnings by changing its name to Hellas Verona AC. Success in the 1970s and 1980s, coached by Nils Liedholm, the team returned to Serie A in 1968 and remained in the elite league almost without interruption until 1990. Along the way it scored a famous 5-3 win in the 1972 Euro 1973 season that cost AC Milan the Scudetto. The fact that the result came late during the last match day of the season makes the sudden and unexpected end to the Rossoneri's title ambitions all the more memorable. In 1973 Euro 1974 Hellas finished the season in 4th last place thus avoiding relegation, but were sent down to Serie B during the summer months as a result of a scandal involving team president Saverio Garonzi. After a year in Serie B Hellas Verona returned to Serie A in the 1975 Euro 1976 season. The team had a successful run in the Coppa Italia, eliminating highly rated teams such as Torino, Cagliari, and Inter from the tournament. However, in their first ever final in the competition Hellas Verona were trounced 4-0 by Napoli. Under the leadership of coach Osvaldo Bagnoli, in 1982 Euro 1983 the team secured 4th place in Serie A and even lead the Serie A standings for a few weeks. The same season Hellas again reached a Coppa Italia final. After a 2-0 home victory, Hellas Verona travelled to Turin to play Juventus but were defeated 3-0 after extra time. Further disappointment followed in the 1983 Euro 1984 season when the team again reached a Coppa Italia final, only to lose the cup in the final minutes of the return match against defending Serie A champions Roma. 1984 Euro 1985 Scudetto. Although the 1984 Euro 1985 squad was made up of a healthy mix of emerging players and mature stars, at the beginning of the season no one would have regarded the team as having the necessary ingredients to make it to the end. Certainly the additions of Hans-Peter Bregel in midfield and of Danish striker Preben Elkjær to an attack that already featured the wing play of Pietro Fanna, the creative abilities of Antonio Di Gennaro and the scoring touch of Giuseppe Galderissi were to prove crucial. To mention a few of the memorable milestones on the road to the Scudetto, a decisive win against Juventus, with a goal scored by Elkjær after having lost a boot in a tackle just outside the box, set the stage early in the championship. An away win over Udinese ended any speculation that the team was losing energy at the midway point. 3 straight wins served notice that the team had kept its polish and focus intact during their rivals' final surge. And a 1-1 draw in Bergamo against Atalanta secured the title with a game in hand. Hellas Verona finished the year with a 15-13-2 record and 43 points, 4 points ahead of Torino with Inter and Sampdoria rounding out the top 4 spots. This unusual final table of the Serie A has led to many speculations. The 1984-1985 season was the only season when referees were assigned to matches by way of a random draw. Before then each referee had always been assigned to a specific match by a special commission of referees. After the betting scandal of the early 1980s it was decided to clean up the image of Italian football by assigning referees randomly instead of picking them, to clear up all the suspicions and accusations always accompanying Italy's football life. This resulted in a quieter championship and in a completely unexpected final table. In the following season, won again by Juventus, the choice of the referees went back in the hands of the Designatory Arbitrali. In 2006 a major scandal in Italian football revealed that certain clubs had been illegally influencing the referee selection process, in an attempt to ensure that certain referees were assigned to their matches. 1980s European campaigns. The team made its first European appearance in the 1983-84 UEFA Cup and were knocked out in the second round of the tournament by Sturm Graz. Hellas were eliminated from the 1985 Euro 86 European Cup in the second round by defending champions and fellow Serie A side Juventus F.C. After a contested game, the result of a scandalous arbitrage by the French Wirtz, having beaten PAOK Thessaloniki of Greece in the first round. In 1988 the team had their best international result when they reached the UEFA Cup quarter-finals with 4 victories and 3 draws. The decisive defeat came from German side Werder Bremen. Between Serie A and Serie B these were more than mere modest achievements for a mid-sized city with a limited appeal to fans across the nation. But soon enough financial difficulties caught up with team managers. In 1991 the team folded and was reborn as Verona F.C., regularly moving to and fro between Serie A and Serie B for several seasons. In 1995 the name was officially changed back to Hellas Verona F.C. After a 3-year stay, their last stint in Serie A ended in grief in 2002. That season emerging international talent such as Adrian Mutu, Mauro Camoranesi, Alberto Gilardino, Martin Lausson, Massimo Oddo, Marco Cassetti and coach Alberto Malassani failed to capitalize on an excellent start and eventually dropped into 4th to last place for the first time all season on the very last matchday, enforcing relegation into Serie B decline and Serie A comeback. Following the 2002 relegation to Serie B, team fortunes continued to slip throughout the decade. In the 2003 Euro 04 season Hellas Verona struggled in Serie B and spent most of the season fighting off an unthinkable relegation to Serie C1. Undeterred, the fans supported their team and a string of late-season wins eventually warded off the danger. Over 5,000 of them followed Hellas to Como on the final day of the season to celebrate. In 2004 Euro 05 things looked much brighter for the team. After a rocky start Hellas put together a string of results and climbed to 3rd spot. The Giallobla to the first held on to the position until January 2005, when transfers weakened the team, yet they managed to take the battle for Serie A to the last day of the season. The Serie B 2006-07 seemed to start well, due to the club takeover by Pietro Arvedidmile, which ended 9 years of controversial rule by chairman Gianbattista Pastorello, heavily contested by the supporters in his later years at Verona. However, Verona was immediately involved in the relegation battle, and Massimo Ficodenti was replaced in December 2006 by Gianpiero Ventura. Despite a recovery in the results, Verona ended in an 18th place, thus being forced to play a two-legged playoff against 19th-placed Spezia to avert relegation. A 2-1 away loss in the first leg at La Spezia was followed by a 0-0 home tie, and Verona were relegated to Serie C1 after 64 years of play in the two highest divisions. Verona appointed experienced coach Franco Colomba for the new season with the aim to return to Serie B as soon as possible. However, despite being widely considered the division favourite, the Giallobla to the first spent almost the entire season in last place. After 7 matches, club management sacked Colomba in early October and replaced him with youth team coach Davide Pellegrini. A new property acquired the club in late 2007, appointing in December Giovanni Galli as new director of football and Maurizio Sarri as new head coach. Halfway through the 2007-2008 season, the team remained at the bottom of Serie C1, on the brink of relegation to the 4th level. In response, club management sacked Sarri and brought back Pellegrini. Thanks to a late-season surge, the Scaligieri avoided direct relegation by qualifying for the relegation playoff, and narrowly averted dropping to Lega Pro Seconda Division in the final game, beating Pro Patria 2-1 on aggregate. However, despite the decline in results, attendance and season ticket sales remained on 15,000 average. For the 2008-09 season, Verona appointed former Sassuolo and Piacenza manager Gianmarco Remondina, with the aim to win promotion to Serie B. However, the season did not start impressively, with Verona being out of the playoff zone by mid-season, and club chairman Pietro Arvedi Mille entering into a coma after being involved in a car crash on his way back from a league match in December 2008. Arvedi died in March 2009, 2 months after the club was bought by new chairman Giovanni Martinelli. The following season looked promising, as new transfer players were brought aboard, and fans enthusiastically embraced the new campaign. Season ticket figures climbed to over 10,000, placing Verona ahead of several Serie A teams and all but Torino and Serie B attendance. The team led the standings for much of the season, accumulating a 7-point lead by early in the spring. However, the advantage was gradually squandered, and the team dropped to second place on the second last day of the season, with a chance to regain first place in the final regular season match against Portogruaro on home soil. But Verona disappointed a crowd of over 25,000 fans and, with the loss, dropped to third place and headed towards the playoffs. A managerial change for the postseason saw the firing of Remondina and the arrival of Giovanni Vavassori. After eliminating Rimini in the semi-finals, Verona lost the final to Pescara and were condemned to a 4th straight year of 3rd division. Former Italian 90 star Giuseppe Giannini signed as manager for the 2010-11 campaign. Once again, the team was almost entirely revamped during the transfers season. The squad struggled in the early months and Giannini was eventually sacked and replaced by former Inter Milan defender Andrea Mandolini, who succeeded in reorganizing the team's play and bringing discipline both on and off the pitch. In the second half of the season, Verona climbed back from the bottom of the division to clinch a playoff berth on the last day of the regular season. The team advanced to the playoff final after eliminating Sorrento in the semis. Following the playoff final, after 4 years of Lega Pro, Hellas Verona were promoted back to Serie B after a 2-1 win over Salernitana on June 19, 2011. On May 18, 2013, Hellas Verona finished second in Serie B and was promoted to Serie A after 11 years. Their return to the Serie A started off against Champions League contending teams such as Milan and Roma, where they beat the former 2-1 and lost to the latter 3-0. They lost 3-0, even though their goalie, Raphael, made 9 top-notch saves. Verona had chances too, including a shot off the crossbar and a shot cleared off the line by Roma. They continued at a steady pace, finishing the first half of the season with 32 points, sitting in 6th place, 11 points behind the closest Champions League spot, and tied with Inter for the last Europa League spot. Colours and badge: the team's colours are yellow and blue, and Gialloblu is the team's most widely used nickname. The colors represent the city itself and Verona's emblem appears on most team apparel. Two more team nicknames are Mastini and Scaligeri, both references to Mastino I della Scala of the Della Scala princes that ruled the city during the 13th and 14th centuries. The Scala family coat of arms is depicted on the team's jersey and on its trademark logo as a stylized image of two large, powerful mastiffs facing opposite directions. In essence, the term Scaligeri is synonymous with Veronese, and therefore can describe anything or anyone from Verona. Stadium. Since 1963, the club have played at the Stadio Marcantonio Bentgodi, which is a capacity of 39,211. The ground is shared with Hellas rivals, Chievo Verona. It was used as a venue for the 1990 FIFA World Cup. Derby with Chievo Verona. The intercity fixtures against Chievo Verona are known as the Derby della Scala. The name refers to the Scaligeri or della Scala aristocratic family, who were rulers of Verona during the Middle Ages and early Renaissance. In the season 2001-02, both Hellas Verona and the city rivals of Chievo Verona were playing in the Serie A. The first ever derby of Verona in Serie A took place on November 18, 2001, while both teams were ranked among the top four. The match was won by Hellas, 3-2. Chievo got revenge in the return match in spring 2002, winning 2-1. The city of Verona became so the fifth city in Italy, after Milan, Rome, Turin and Genoa to host a derby in Serie A. Results, Honours, Serie/Italian Football Championship. Champions, 1984 Euro 85. Serie B. Champions, 1956 Euro 57, 1981 Euro 82, 1998 Euro 99. Coppa Italia. Runners-up, 1976, 1983, 1984. Current squad, as of July 4, 2014. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Youth team. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Managers, sponsors, kit sponsors, 1980 Euro 1987, Adidas, 1987 Euro 1989, Hummel, 1989 Euro 1991, Adidas, 1991 Euro 1995, Allsport, 1995 Euro 2000, IRI, 2000 Euro 2003, Lotto, 2003 Euro 2006, Leisure, 2006 Euro 2013, Asics, 2013 Euro Present, Nike, official sponsors, 1982 Euro 1986, Canon, 1986 Euro 1989, Ricoh. 1989 Euro 1996, Rana, 1996 Euro 1997, Ferroli, 1997 Euro 1998, ZG Kameni Inox, 1998 Euro 1999, Atrio, 1999 Euro 2000, Salumi Marsili, 2000 Euro 2001, Net Business, 2001 Euro 2002, Amica Chips, 2002 Euro 2006, Clermont, 2006 Euro 2007, Unica, 2007 Euro 2008, No Sponsor, 2008 Euro 2010, Gilo, 2010 Euro 2011, Banca di Verona. Protecsecurant Group. Consorzio Asimov, 2011 Euro 2012, AGSM. Protecsecurant Group. Leader Form, 2012 Euro 2013, AGSM Leader Form, references. Further reading: A Season with Verona, travels around Italy in search of illusion, national character, and goals. By Tim Parks. ISBN 0-09-942267-0. External links, official website.